Greetings, everyone! It is I, Tantisnar van Dracovin, your Lord and Emperor here at the Dracovin Empire, and welcome once more to our Golarion Gazetteer. Gazetteer? I can never pronounce that word correctly. I don't pronounce a lot of English words correctly at all. But anyway, we're going to be talking about an island nation that is, well, a very interesting one. It is Mediogalti Island. And it is an island that is technically not been settled by civilization until more recently. Basically, by the last couple of thousand years or so, has there been civilization there. And it's really the fault of another nation entirely, and the people that run it, well, they're assassins. We'll talk about that. So, why don't we begin, though, our discussion on the island that is located on the western coast of Grund and near the Eye of Abandigo. Hey, Abandigo. I talked about that for my Soddenlands video, and there's another nation that's right there in the top midst of things. So, let's talk about them. Let's talk about the books that you want to check out, though, for more information on these. I'd recommend the Pathfinder campaign settings book. This is an older book. You can find a PDF of it from 2009. And then the other book I would recommend checking out, which is a little bit newer, is the Interseed World Guide. And that is from 2011. These two books provide information on stuff, but again, they don't provide a huge amount of information. They provide enough of it, and there's some mentions in a couple other places, like Cities of Golarion, Classic Hearts Revisited, Lost Kingdoms, provide a little bit more information that we're combining together for this island. But those are the two main books if you're looking into a lot of stuff on Mediogalti Island. That's where you're going to find these two. So, that's a suggestion. So, here, oh, that's not the flag. This is switching to the flag. There's a nice flag of Mediogalti. So, let's start with some basics about it. There are two languages spoken there, Common and Infernal. Now, that seems interesting. Why Infernal? We'll talk about that. It is a lawful evil island ruled by the blood mistress Jacqueline. And the government is the Red Mantis Assassins. Major religions are Achaekek, I'm probably butchering that one, Besmar and Norgriber. Besmar is the only not evil deity there. So yes, it's a small nation on the western coast of Grund, and the home there is the Red Mantis Assassins. The other group that lives there? Pirates. And they've been known to do things like bury their treasure in the island's interior because the island is only barely settled. So originally, back in the Age of Serpents, years and years and years ago, this was the northern part of the Cyclopsian Empire of Golgon. I'll have to talk about Golgon in the future, like I'll have to talk about Thassalon and Aslant, but it's another one of the ancient empires in Golarion who have a lot of ruins. We skip ahead because there isn't a lot of, time period that thousands upon thousands of years to the Age of Enthronement, which is when we switched from negative AR to positive AR. To about, so it's the last 46,000 or 4,600 years up until the current age, that the Age of Lost Omens, that the most adventurous talking. Oh, that's the Age of Glory became the Age of Lost Omens. So basically, the time period that you'd be playing in. So we skip ahead to that, and that time period right before there. Pirates used the island. That's the only people that ever visited it. The island's main northern lagoon was the convenient location to anchor and resupply. Burying their dead or hiding treasure was a great place on the island. There wasn't a lot of control. There was just beasts and monsters and creatures like that, and more honestly savage or tribal intelligence ancestries that didn't really care about a lot of things. So this lagoon passed control of between different pirate captains. There wasn't any permanent settlement. Everything changed in 2559. What changed then? Well, in Rahadom, there was the Oath Wars. And we have to talk about the Oath Wars a little bit, because that is a big part of this entire thing. it was a big religious battle between conflict between clergies of Nethys, Norgabur, Sarenrae. Basically, they wanted to see what's the dominant religion in Northwest Garund. And basically, it resulted in the country kicking out every goddamn deity of it. And that's the thing that we're going to have to talk about when we talk about that nation in the future. But yes, they got rid of all their deities because of this. One of the groups that basically left at the end of the Oath Wars was the Red Mantis Assassins, who needed a new home. And let's just show off the symbol of the Red Mantis Assassins here. The two mantis claws. So at the behest of their god, Achaekek, I'm probably butchering that a little bit, they located to Mediogalti Island. And the first thing they did is built their location, the Crimson Citadel, deep in the jungles of the interior. And once that was completed, they built a city, Ilza Mogorti, as a place to meet and assess potential clients. They built it in that pirate lagoon, that northern lagoon used by pirates. And so it became a free port for pirates to basically avoid a lot of laws or taxes in other ports. It became a pirate haven, too. Red Mantis's reputation has kept basically any foreign punitive force from invading the island. And even the Eye of Abendigo has actually helped them. A lot more trade routes, now avoiding the Eye, pass by the island. So it has become much more of a major trade point. So to talk about the Red Mantis Assassins, we have to talk about the Red Mantis. They are basically, a little bit, we're going to talk about them. Well, maybe we'll go into more in depth in the future, but they're an association of assassins. That's the easiest way. They're known for their trademark bright red and black armor, their serrated blades called sawtooth sabers, and their mantis masks, which enhance their senses of sight and give them a terrible visage. And they dye their stuff red like their god's Carpes, which I'll talk about the god in a second here. So, yeah. They are globally across Golarion a assassination network. And they're hosted out of this island where they have their organization itself. So, yeah. And we'll talk about their organization a little bit because the government of this island is the hierarchy of their organization. But again, let's talk about their, well, their god. Because we do have to mention their god a little bit too. Let's show off their mantis god. Boop. There he is. So that's good old Achaekek, the god of assassins. Yeah. It takes the form of a giant red mantis that kills with professional detachment, taking a middle position between Calistre, the goddess of revenge, if not necessarily murder, and Norgabur, the god of murder for whether paid or not. So, lives in the boneyards, lawful evil. Yeah. There's debate whether he actually is a deity or some other kind of higher being, but again, that's a lot of things here. But regardless, the main worshippers of this here is the Red Mantises, and of course, the Red Mantis Assassins. It doesn't mean that there aren't clerics, but their clerics are also assassins. And there are others that worship it, but the Red Mantis is the main group that really deals with them. So, anyway, yes, that's our good friends who now control and own this island. And let's talk about the government of the island because, hey, we've got our Red Mantis friends here, and here's the Crimson Citadel. It's a nice looking place. We'll talk about it a little more in depth, but let's talk about who rules from this place. So, the thing is, The civilized parts of the island, which there are not a huge amount of them, are kind of run very laissez-faire by the Red Mantises. The pirates go about their businesses unmolested, basically as long as they don't interfere with the assassins' business. So if you're a pirate and you go to Mediogalti Island, you know, don't mess with what's going on with the assassins, and you can do whatever you want. They don't care. Doesn't matter. The Red Mantises are ruled by two groups. The Vernal, which are the basically High Killers, which is a council of mostly female senior assassins. Not all of them are female. There isn't a prohibition against male members, but for whatever reason, they end up that way. So the thing is, an important part of being a Vernal is, a Verni, I think it is actually, Verni, is they address each other by name. So they know each other's identities. But, which is something that's very important in their society. I have to say that identity and hiding it is incredibly important to the Red Mantises. So the fact that they know who each other are is very important. Now, these identities are kept outside of the circle. They only have titles to non-Verni. Traditionally, it's 13 members, but it can vary. It's been as low as 7 and as high as 23. So, yeah. And they also are technically a religious organization, interpreting and acting on the will of their god. And the Blood Mistress, the head of that, being the ultimate authority. And that's where we get into the Blood Mistress, who's the head of the operation. Yes. It's quite a title to have. Blood Mistress. So, yes. The current Blood Mistress, of course, Jacqueline. This pinnacle has only been held by women, though. So that's an important part about it, is it is a female-only position, and it's probably one of the most powerful positions in all of Golarion. And this is the important part about it. They are the only member of the Verni whose name is known to the public, and who has access to the Sarazai Library, which is a special library in the Crimson Citadel. When we talk about Crimson Citadel, we'll talk about that too, because that's a very important part of the entire thing too. This special stuff that's related to Blood Mistresses. But we can see now, yeah, it's a very interesting organization, and granted, yes, it reflects upon the assassins here. But again, they're not the only power here, because there's a little bit more to this. So, the thing is, alright, we've got our assassin leaders here. Where's the Crimson Citadel? Well, its location is a well-guarded secret to anybody that's not a Red Mantis. So that's why Ilza Magorti, the port, is so important. And even Ilza Gamorti, remember, the Red Mantis Assassins wear full face masks, the Mantis masks. I'll show you a picture of them in a second. They keep their identity secret. And that's the thing, is if you're on the streets of Ilza Gamorti, anybody could be an assassin. So crime, in a place with no laws, is incredibly low. Because you don't know, if I'm a local pirate that's gone there, and I bother with someone in the local, they could just be an assassin and just kill me then. And one of the things the Red Mantises do is they encourage just people that are not members of their society living in the island to use Sawtooth Sabers, their signature weapons. Because then you don't know, oh, they're pulling out a Sawtooth Saber. Oh, that doesn't mean anything. They could be an assassin. It could be anything. The only government figure is a mysterious mayor of Ilza Gamorti, who lives in the topmost room of an unused lighthouse over the harbor. A citizen can access with them day or night, even without appointment. You can kind of stand in line, and the mayor will deal with you. We can talk about the mayor for a second there, because we know more about the mayor, which people don't know about, is it turns out the mayor is, a doppelganger that's a Red Mantis assassin, who happens to be Dorel, who's also the High Killer, part of the Verni, and also is the mayor. So your characters won't know that, but that's who the person is. This is, it's lore I can share with you, So, yeah, the mayor of the city happens to be known as is one of the member of the council, is the High Killer, and it's a doppelganger. All right, so now let's share. Now that Crimson Citadel's done, let's take a good look here at our Red Mantis Assassin. This is traditionally what a Red Mantis Assassin dresses in: the reds and blacks, the mantis helm, the sawtooth blades. This is what they look like, and they are a pretty big part of those that live on Mediogalti Island. In fact, the fact is the island wasn't uninhabited before the Red Mantis settled there. Granted, you had your pirates and stuff that would come and go, but there were others. There were some Uruxi and kobolds in the interior. So the Uruxi do raid the outskirts of Izamorti. The kobolds raid the outskirts of Izamorti, while the Uruxi do some trade with the city occasionally here and there. So these are two groups that do exist on the island, and one kind of fights them a little bit, but really can't do a lot. They're, kobolds versus a group of assassins, while the Uruxi are like, we'll trade with you occasionally here and there. There's also a population of goblins and a arboreal village called Gonda Uj. They're monkey goblins. When I had my video talking about goblins, check that one out, I talked about these a little bit that were on this island. Expert climbers, skilled in use of poisons and nets. The territory around their settlement's very dangerous to check out. There's also dinosaurs that sometimes attack the city when they're hungry. There's savage Gorillions, rarely were-tigers. There's a lot of very savage things there. And of course, we can introduce another group which is existing here, which I have an image for because I can show that one off there. The Adaro. They're shark-like humanoids. They're basically very strange. They're like a little bit mermaids, but they're shark mermaids, you could almost call them. They're sharks and humans, kind of features of both of them. And yeah, they have a tribe that's there called the Kaneno, and they're in the sea around Izagomorti on Mediogalti Island. Sometimes, if you get shipwrecked, they could rescue you. Other times, they could eat you. It depends on the situation, Locals see them as a good thing, as they keep things like devilfish, reef claws, and sharks and other dangerous creatures in checks. They'll leave them offerings in way out places. They know the reefs around Mediogalti Island better than any land-dwelling navigator, so they're sought after to look at as pilots to help you navigate around the area. Some rarely do, and there are those that have wisdom there. So they are a respected group in amongst here, just because of their nature. And also around the island is, of course, one more thing that we can talk about. That's Kolath, the white whale, a hateful ghost of a whale that was slaughtered by whalers that base out of Izagomorti. Now, moonless nights it stalks the water in strangely radiant darkness, roams the sea, and basically makes ships disappear. So it's a powerful ghost whale. It was known as a powerful, dangerous whale even before its death. And so, yeah, it kind of hates ships. Or that. So on certain nights like that, don't go out or you get deadly, deadly whale ghost killing you. And no one wants that. Let's talk about what's on the island. And we'll give a little picture of Ilizimagorti. I'm probably saying the name is. I think it's I-L-I-Z. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Ilizimagorti. Ilizimagorti. I'm butchering this name here. Anyway, it's the sizable settlement. It's a large city on Mediogalti Island. It's probably the biggest settlement on the entire island that you're going to find. Anyway, it doesn't really appear on a lot of maps, is one of those things. Why? Well, the Red Mantises, really. A lot of people that visit are pirates that know kind of their way around. And that's the main ships that dock there. Though, there are numerous, though comparatively low, number of honest merchant vessels that also visit the city. You learn where it is, you don't have a map where it is. And don't put it on any map because the Red Mantises will probably come for you. Remember, they're a global organization. So, yes. Is the population all Red Mantises? No, but there's a sizable portion of the population that are Red Mantises. So, when you're dealing with someone that you're just meeting there, you got maybe a 66-75% chance that they're an assassin in disguise, that you don't know that that's their true form. But there's always that 25% that they're not. But do you want to, take that chance? You don't really want to take that chance. So again, city's run by the mayor, who happens to be Red Mantis. We talked about that in secrecy. And all business are either fronts for the Red Mantises or pay protection money to them. Basically, also, don't be a rival group to their power because they will make sure you don't exist there. The general pirate code is what most follow here. And, if you're a citizen of the city, you're expected to follow yourself. So, general pirate code is the basic closest thing to law that's had there, and after that, you fend for yourself. There's a city garrison known as the Blood Watch, with their blood red armor, that are basically soldiers more than police. They occasionally get involved in law enforcement, which, if you're deemed the offender in a crime, you'll find yourself hanging from a Yardom Bridge without the benefit of a trial. So, I mean, when your god is a giant red mantis and you're very much worshipping it and it's an assassin god, yes. And the Bloodwatch doesn't trouble with themselves with anything beyond the city walls. So, effectively, if you get the soldier group called the Bloodwatch, which is the soldiers of the city, involved in your crime, you're just going to be dead. Anybody that's basically an offender is dead. Doesn't matter. You're gone. There are no official city districts. The place is a little chaotic because of that. There are various quarters in the cities that have nicknames based on their characters. There's the northern districts and southern districts. In the northern districts, there's the Dandy, where the wealthiest inhabitants are. The main mast, which is the commercial district. The Medina, which is basically Old Town, a maze of narrow streets, and is the most dangerous part of the city. Alcazar, which is the main market square, basically overlooked by Sawtooth Keep, where the Bloodwatch hangs out. In the south, we have Red Shore, the main residential area. The Bilge is a slum area, and Jawbone, an entertainment district, which has the city's shipyards. And outside of the walls is the Green, which is 4 small districts that stand outside the wall at the edge of the jungle. Norgreen, Easter Green are north of the river, and River Green, West Green are south of it. That's basically the city there. Now we can talk about the other settlements, because there are basically 3 other main settlements on the island. There's Cuddle, which is on the west coast of the island, a much smaller settlement that's there. Huts on the edge of a beach. It's a way station for whalers in the Arcadian Ocean. The whalers play the Red Mantises to use the site, usually in the form of whale oil. And it's believed that some of the villagers that live there are, of course, members of the Red Mantises. So yeah, small city there. There's Gonda Uj, which I talked about, which is the treetop city, civilization of the monkey goblins on the island. It's precariously balanced bark huts linked with swaying vines and bridges. Anybody that's a scholar believes this is the 5th location to have the same name, and the other 4 were burned down because even monkey goblins still love fire. So yeah. And then, of course, there's the Crimson Citadel itself, which is a part of the island. Its exact location, hidden in the center of the island somewhere. It took about 4 decades to complete its construction, and it was the first thing constructed by the Red Mantises before they built the city, of course, there, once they settled here. It's a large building with dozens of floors. It's rumored that it has a hidden entrance to the Darklands. There are 3 sets of layers to it, or 4 sets of layers. The Ruvari, which is the lowest levels of it, the Ruby Halls. Also named for the proportionally large amount of blood supposedly sprayed on the walls. There's poisonous animals, traps, cunning creatures from the great beyond that are used to help train assassins that come here. The Sivlamlik is the middle floors, the honey gardens. Its pleasure palace is designed to cater to every desire of the flesh, including waterfalls of flesh blood. It's got scrumptious food, drugs, servants who tend to cardinal desires. This is where if you're a Red Mantis assassin and you've successfully finished a mission and you're coming back, you're gonna go to the Sivlong Milk. You're gonna, kind of relax, enjoy some blood waterfalls, some drugs, cardinal desires, some food. The usual thing you do in between your missions. The Odalatus is the lavish heart, the upper levels of the Citadel, home to the leaders, the Vernal and the Blood Mistress, and of course the Phanos, the final area, the Ironheart, is the hidden sanctum that only the Blood Mistress can get into. The Sardzari Library is there, which is said to be basically Golarion's largest, most comprehensive depository of ancient knowledge. So that's something that the Red Mantises have that they keep over a lot. It's another reason that they do keep in power, is that they have basically a depository of ancient knowledge that nobody else has. Now, Mediogalti Island is technically part of an archipelago, so there's some small islands we can mention around it. There's Hermitage, which is a small island on the southern tip, which is a strange old man known as the Hermit that lives in a shack there. Not as known about him. He's said to be a deaf mute that stares towards the eye of Abandigo. It is not known that if he has connections to the Red Mantis or basically anything else that's like that. But he's a mysterious man that lives on this island there. There's Mosquito Island, which is north of Mediogalti and west of Slitherfish Islands, which is a training ground for assassins. And no one is allowed to enter Mosquito Island, so they basically patrol approaching with small, fast boats. Intruders are killed out of hand, so if you intrude on the island, if you're caught, they're basically like, hey, get away from here. There was a stronghold of an infamous pirate leader that was there, so there is rumor of treasure there. So yeah, there's plenty of treasure hunters that risk the Red Mantises in order to find it, but they're going to murder you. Sharkfin Island is another small island north Mediogalti, north of the city, the main city. And there's Slitherfish Island, which I mentioned, where there's the wreckage of the Merry Widow, which I'll talk about in a minute, which has a sect of Besmara servants known as the Merry Widows. We'll talk about them. Other places of interest you might visit this island for: the Crypt of Angus Amberleg, which is a successful pirate. Legendary crypt there. Treasures said to include ancient artifacts and jewels the size of a fist of an ogre. There's the Dinosaur Graveyard, which contains the bones of countless dinosaurs, which apparently animate to attack anybody that comes into it. And there's also said to be treasure there, of course. The Thunderscale Warrens, which are a network of caves, located a day's journey from the pirate city of the pirate/assassin city of Ilzmagorti. And there's said to be gold and gems in there, and possibly an entrance to the Darklands. But what really lives there is the Thunderscale tribe's kobolds. So if you want to go and try to get gold or gems, you've got to deal with a large tribe of kobolds. And of course, there's the Merry Widow, a half-submerged, scuttled ship on the Slitherfish Island, where a bunch of it's below deck, and it's a temple to the pirate goddess Besmara. And the sect that controls it is the Merry Widows, which is a group of Besmara worshippers said to be made up of women who lost their husbands at sea. And it is also rumored that some Mediogalti women donated unwanted husbands to the ship temple to sacrifice to the goddess Besmara. Whether or not that's true or not. But basically, these widows believe that their menfolk were accepted as sacrifice to Besmara, and so they consider themselves blessed. Hence the entire thing of sacrificing the menfolk to Besmara. But that's Mediogalti Island in a nutshell. Mediogalti. I've been saying it correctly. Okay, cool. They have a pronunciation thing for that one, at least. When they have these pronunciation things for a lot of these places, it really helps me, because I butcher the crap out of these. Oh, Ilizmagorti. I've been close on that one. I forgot to check these. Anyway, so Mediogalti is an interesting location because it is a small location and honestly seemingly not very powerful, yet it is probably the most powerful nation in all of Golarion in a way. Because why? The Red Mantis. The Red Mantis, the group, and the Red Mantis Assassins, which are their main, basically, they're the essence of their members, are renowned across all of Golarion. If you need an assassination, you go to them. It will be done. They are adamant professionals. But they also are some of the most powerful of all groups in all the world because of their nature. Because they are the go-to assassination group. And again, though, there's a thing about it. They don't just accept anybody. That's the point of, we talked about, the city of Ilizmagorti. It's to look at, judge, and see if you're worthy of taking on their jobs. And certainly they'll probably ask their assassin mantis god whether or not, the thing is there too. And there's a lot of stuff related to that. But it's a really interesting place because it's like, there's technically no laws. But it is very lawful. Because the mantises have their laws that they keep in place. But as long as you don't mess with them, do whatever the hell you want. Granted, you make sure you don't know if you're messing with them or not. But no one in their right mind would try to attack this island. No one. You might be able to conquer something or damage something, but the Red Mantises will do so much damage to you. It's all business until you make it personal. Don't make it personal with them. There's probably plenty of treasures left over deep within the islands. Interesting places to check out. As long as you don't mess with the Red Mantises, you can certainly go adventuring there. A graveyard of dinosaurs, an old tomb of a pirate lord. Plenty of places. But would you feel so safe on the doorstops of probably the most deadly and dangerous people on all the planet, who, if they wished you dead, would kill you? Granted, they might not. There's very little chance of them wishing you dead. You never know. Anyway, I think that's enough for today for Mediogalti. It's an interesting island and very fun one to talk about. That's the thing is, I like when we talk about, for our Gazetteer here, all these interesting and unique places you can visit. And have adventures in. And certainly have crazy times. Golarion's a wonderful world. I hope in the future you check out more of my things, of course. Join me like good old Slashes and Worm here and chatting in chat at twitch.tv/the Dracovin Empire. Same basically web location as it is on YouTube. join us live there. Give a follow. That's a great support. That's the basic support I would love for you to give. And anything else is great too. You can always also, if you're joining me on YouTube side, hi YouTube. Thank you for watching this. You know, you could have watched this live, but it's okay. You can always give a subscription there, a like, you know, a good way. Ring the bell if you're already subscribed and know what's going on. Leave a comment. Have you dealt with the Red Mantises or Mediogalti Island at all? The Red Mantises are certainly a big kind of group, and there's plenty of opportunities to deal with them. If you want to watch this live, of course, it's every Tuesday, Thursday in the early afternoons, usually between 1 and 2, and every Saturday, well, most Saturdays between 11 and 12, starting on those days. And I stream these live then. If you want to check out what's going on with me more or less, I give schedules and random brain fart updates on my Discord, link below, and of course my Twitter.com, aka the website formerly known as Twitter, where I do the same thing a lot of times. Anyway, I think that's enough shoutouts. I think that's all the things I have to say. And I think I'm glad you joined me for this adventure of checking out a very interesting island. I hope all of you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you all in the future next time. So I say to you, farewell.